Hello, fellow riddlers from pencil, pen, paint, digital, or any other mediums. How's your day so far? Mine's been great. Just recently, I finally got my first ever commission, and I was very excited about it. And when I got the commission request, I immediately got to work. So, come with me as I draw this butterfly themed original character. So, at first, to really make sure that I'll be in the right track as I'm drawing their original character, I asked for references, and they definitely knew what they wanted this character to look like. They provided so many references which had a theme: butterflies and blue and a very ethereal kind of vibe. And honestly, I loved that they gave me so many references so that I can make sure that I'd be in the right direction when drawing the original character. And then when she was done giving all of her references, I finally tried to, as best as I could, narrow it all down to multiple themes and focal points so that it would fit their desired results. And I actually took note of those specific themes. Take note, these are kind of random and are kind of a mess, but I understood them because it's my notes, so I was able to understand them. But it might be a bit confusing. I'm gonna read it to you. These are written in bullet points. First is butterfly theme, curly and voluminous hair, butterfly extravagant gown, blue dominant color, that's like the color theme of the entire illustration, midnight or purple eyes, flowy and defying gravity kind of pose, and of course elegant, because this character, they said, is a princess. And of course, princesses, as we all know, are very elegant, very soft, most of the time, I guess, very sophisticated. So if you've been here for a while, you probably know that I do my sketches on paper, so I did exactly that. Actually, this sketch that you see here that I'm tracing isn't the first sketch. It's actually like the finalized version of everything. I actually made four kind of character sheets for this original character, because this character was still a concept. It wasn't, or it had not been fully illustrated. It was still a concept, so it was just an amalgamation of ideas from her mind, and it was my job to finally bring her to life. So I made multiple character sheets. I'm gonna put them on screen right now. As you can see, the first one is this very princessy vibe, like an actual princess, a very extravagant gown, layered, a lot of shiny things. Those stringy kind of elements were supposed to be golden, kind of, I don't know what to call those, but they're very shiny, and I really like to look at them in various illustrations. I've seen other artists do those, and I really like looking at those. I actually like the idea as well, so I did that. And this first character sheet, I actually draw this character in multiple angles. First one is this one, the front, like straight front view, and then the next one is a side view, and the last one is a back view of the character. Spoiler alert, we ended up scrapping this character and she didn't like the layered dress, so she changed it to this, I don't know what to call this kind of thing, but it has a huge opening in the front, and it's very flowy at the back of the gown. And I made another character sheet. This time I didn't draw this character in different angles, because the first character sheet actually took quite a long time, and I wanted to just put this character in display so that they would have an idea of what they will see when looking at this character in front, because the final pose is gonna be front facing, like most of it. So I didn't bother that much making the character in different angles. And after sketching for like maybe half an hour, we ended up with this, and I showed it to her and she loved it. After that, I finally moved on to the finalized sketch with her requested pose. This very flowy kind of pose. It's like she's like floating in something. I think she's in the water. This is a reference, by the way. So I just sketched it on paper, and after a sketch of like another half an hour, I finally traced it on ice paint. After I was done with tracing out the entire character digitally, I finally made the sketch layer invisible so that all I could see was the traced out version, which is gonna be the line art for this piece. And then after that, I moved on to flat colors. I went with a very blue, again, it's a very blue themed illustration as she requested. So I added a lot of blues in different hues and different saturation just to emphasize some elements a bit more. I also added gradients, which normally I do not do, because when I use the selection tool, the gradients would mess with the area that I want to select, because it kind of sees it as like a border or something. Yeah, it just kind of messes up with it. Maybe there's a way to kind of get past through that, but I don't know that yet. So because of these gradients, I had to manually lasso to certain parts where there were gradients, but it didn't really hinder me that much. It was still okay. It just took a little longer than it would have if I just used the selection tool, but yeah, it still worked. When I was in the flat colors stage, we actually had a lot of changes in her bangs, because at first I draw her with the curtain bangs based on the references she gave me, and since she said that she wants this character to defy gravity, or almost all elements should be floating, I also did that with the bangs, and as a result, that made the bangs less prominent, and maybe she didn't see it that much, so she requested it to be more prominent, which I did. I actually changed the bangs and made it longer, and then after that she she changed her mind and she wanted to change it to this kind of braided hairstyle. I don't know what to call this really, but she wanted to change it to that, so I did just that. And when she saw it, maybe it would probably because of the flowy hair that made the head smaller, because I gave her that hairstyle that she wanted. Her head became or looked smaller. It was proportional, but because of that flowy hair, it made her head look smaller than it should. So she wanted the old hairstyle back. And good thing I actually saved the last version, because I was just able to copy paste it above the layer of the changed hairstyle, so it didn't take that long to change it back to the original hairstyle. But again, I kind of panicked a bit there because I thought it was gonna be difficult to change it back, but it still worked out. And after that, I made her review the whole thing once again, and she finally let me proceed to rendering and shading and stuff like that. When shading this, I actually had a lot of trouble. Actually, not only with shading, the struggle went on up to the rendering stage because this illustration didn't seem to have a true focal point like the rest of my illustration. That's where I kind of specialize in a bit, or in a way. I'm not that good at it, but that's what I try to do with all my illustrations. But she was a maximalist, she said that herself, and she likes it when she can look anywhere and she would see details and certain emphasis. So I didn't know how to apply that to this drawing because again, I specialize in emphasizing some elements and I couldn't really do that here, kind of. So I had to give a lot of details to almost every element, which actually I liked it as well because it has been quite a while since I spent a lot of time in details, like small details, even the smallest details. I spent a lot of time on them, but I made sure to not overdo it because again, it can really throw off the balance of an artwork. So, good thing I kind of knew what I was doing, so that helped me. then after I rendered the whole thing, usually my kind of sign that I'm done with the piece is when I copy a um, combined layers of the entire folder, like the entire illustration, and then I apply filters over it, and then I mask or I clip mask it to the folder below, which contains all of the layers of the illustration, and like experiment with the blending modes. That's usually where it ends. That's usually a finalization of the illustration. But for me, I was contemplating whether I should just um stick with the final product, because I still felt like there was something missing. I want to add a background to this illustration, so I wanted to add a Torii gate, because she's very blue and Torii gates are usually red, so it kind of provided that contrast. And so I sketched a Torii gate on paper and then traced it out onto my IBIS paint. I didn't put too much detail on this Torii gate, but I still made sure that the large source was prominent so that it wouldn't confuse the viewers, including me. Also, red is a kind of like a pick-me color. Like when you see it in an illustration, your eyes would be drawn to it almost most of the time. So I had to make sure that the saturation was different from the saturation of the character, so that the character would stand out. So I chose a very pale red, and it did work, but there's still something missing. So I applied a Gaussian blur to the entire background, and finally that feeling of success and completion finally hit me. I no longer felt like there was something missing, and I finally was content with what I had. So finally I submitted the illustration to her, and to my manifestation, she loved it, and yeah, I got paid, of course, and the commission is complete. That's the story of this illustration. For first time in a while, this illustration really took a long time, and I actually put so much effort into it, because the whole time while I was drawing the illustration, I was like, oh no, will she like this? Is this up to her standards? And things like that. So I couldn't stop thinking about this kind of stuff, so probably that was also the reason why I put so much effort into it, because I didn't want to disappoint, but good thing I didn't. I think hopefully I didn't, but yeah, she said she loved it, and that's the story of my first ever commission. So thank you so much for watching till the end. I really appreciate you. If you've noticed, I wanted to make a video with very minimal editing, or very minimal like commentary or cuts, because, well, first of all, I really do not have the time right now to spend too much time on editing, because I have some stuff going on in my life, and I feel like those are my top priority at the moment. But I am cooking up something in the background, and I'm trying to make that a good thing, or a good dish for you. But yeah, stay tuned if you want to see that. And again, thank you so much for watching this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye, keep doodling.